funny enough, I didn't really get to play. I must have played with the automatic, because my bezel clicked. The bezel clicked, and I really liked the action on it. So it wasn't for long, and it was a guy that I didn't really like too much. I noticed on his wrists he had a Q-Timex, the automatic. I thought, wow, you're into watches. And it was a friend of his gave it to him, and he didn't really know too much about it. So
got it.
But yeah, no,
I
they're
understand
lovely. They're nice.
Cool.
Was that the Batman, the automatic?
It probably was because it was clicking.
M78.
Yeah, it was the Batman.
What was it? The M78, 76?
I don't know too much about it, just because I didn't really want to speak to him for too long. Long enough to get the watch off his
right
to put it on mine.
Right.
I should have just ran. But
guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of SoCal Watch Reviews. Miguel here, P. Ross. How's it going, buddy?
Yo, what's up, people? We are in the building. SoCal Watch Reviews podcast. Banging.
Can you guess the episode, Ross?
60
episodes. Insane, 60. Man. Insane.
60.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been wanting to talk to our guest for a while. He is extremely entertaining. I love the guy.
Absolutely.
Super member of the Watch fam. Do the honors, P. Ross.
Yo, listen, we got a brother here, you know what I'm saying? From the UK, in the building, we wonder why he's so mad. You know what I mean? Like, why is he so angry? We have Russell, the mad watch collector, in the building.
Yeah. I love it. What an intro. That is superb.
Yeah.
What a pleasure it is to be with you two boys.
Yeah.
The pleasure's all ours.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
So why don't you, see, for everybody listening or watching that doesn't know who you are, which I'm sure a lot of our followers follow you and vice versa. Why don't you do a quick intro? Who are you? What are you about? And
we haven't got that long, Miguel. Well, I mean, I started a YouTube watch review. You call it a watch review channel in March, which was lockdown number 1 in the UK. And it was spawned out of frustration, P. Ross and Miguel, out of 1, being bored, 2, running out of puzzles, 3, I love watch reviews. I love watching and listening to reviews, listening and watching. But I felt like I could give something a little bit different to the watch family. I felt like I could do some information as well as entertaining. And I thought that if I want that, surely there's at least 1 or 2 other people in the world that like that as well. So, that's what the aim was, to like at least, to get at least 2 or 3 women interested into my watch reviews as well.
Women, huh? Wow. Goals.
Exactly. Yeah.
You should see my stats, man. My women subscribers and followers are so slim.
I know. Yeah.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Well, before we move forward, let's do a wristwatch check. Ask our guest, what are you wearing?
I am wearing the watch that started my proper collecting about 4 years ago. I am wearing the one, the only SKX 009.
Nice.
I've still got it on the jingly jangly, P. Ross. I still got it on there.
The jingly jangly.
Man, I can't get it off there. I can't. It's so comfortable.
So comfortable, right?
Yeah.
As I don't have any arm hair, still haven't started to grow it yet. It doesn't hurt any hair. I love it. I love this thing.
Don't worry, you'll hit puberty pretty soon.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm waiting. But no, I love this thing. 42. I think it's 42 millimeters.
Yeah, it is 42.
Yeah.
You know, for a watch that big on my 6.5-inch wrist to not look that big when I look down on it is something that SoCal do very well.
It's a classic.
I agree. It's so funny. Actually, my first watch that got me into proper watch collecting is a 007. So yeah, man, such a great watch. P. Ross, what are you wearing?
Me and Sir Tina, you know what it is.
Oh,
Sir Tina.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes,
Very
sir.
nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, you had to join the club, P. Ross. So Mr. Russell is wearing a Pepsi. I haven't worn this in a long time. Q Timex.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Q Timex. I don't wear this thing,
Wow.
but
that looks good. That looks good on you there.
Wow.
Thank you. I never wear it, but definitely a good watch, a
Miguel,
solid watch.
What's the bezel like? What's the bezel action like?
It's a dual turning bezel, but it does not click. So the automatic version clicks the unidirectional. Okay. This one doesn't. It's a friction. So you see, I can't turn it because I don't wear this watch much, as you can tell.
Right.
I've had it since the second round when it came out. So I bought it at retail. Right, I didn't pay crazy prices, and I just don't wear it for whatever reason. But every time I do wear it, there's a certain charm to it, and I'm like, no wonder.
Fun. It's really fun.
Do you have it? Have you owned it? Have you
played
with it?
I've worn it, and I've funny enough, I didn't really get to play. I must have played with the automatic because my bezel clicked. The bezel clicked, and I really liked the action on it. So it wasn't for long, and it was a guy that I didn't really like too much. I noticed on his wrists he had a Q Timex, the automatic. I thought, wow, you're into watches. And it was a friend of his gave it to him, and he didn't really know too much about it. So
got it.
But yeah, no,
I
they're
understand
lovely.
that.
They're nice.
Cool.
Was that the Batman, the automatic?
It probably was because it was clicking.
78.
Yeah, it was the Batman.
What was it? The M78, 76?
I don't know too much about it, just because I didn't really want to speak to him for too long. Long enough to get the watch off his
right
to put it on mine.
Right.
I should have just ran. But yeah, but yeah, they're nice. I do want to get a couple of those in and have a good look.
Yeah, because I think I got the Coke. Yeah, I got Coke.
Yes, I've seen a review from you, man, on at least one of them.
Yeah, that's cool, very man. Cool. Nice. So my first question to you is going to be, why did you start a YouTube channel? And you pretty much answered that, which is awesome. But let me ask you something. So what got you into watch collecting? You said about 4 years ago you really started watch collecting, but what was that spark for you, and what did it?
So I've always been into watches. Even as a kid, I remember buying my CA53W, the calculator watch, and I've had a number of F91Ws that look like it. I can't remember what the references were, but I've always had a thing about time, and always had just a thing about wearing a watch. It spawns from James Bond back in the 80s, watching Roger Moore. Roger Moore was a big part of my life because my mum loved James Bond, and it was the late 70s, early 80s, and it was the Moonraker and all that sort of stuff. Live and Let Die is my favorite Bond film, just because it brings back so many good memories. It's a to watch it now, it's laughable, but it was awesome at the time, and I wanted to be James Bond, and I wanted to be I wanted to have that 5513 reference Rolex Submariner. Then it was my granddad that got me into Rolex a bit more. I'm a tennis coach by day, usually not in lockdown at the minute, and growing up watching tennis in the 90s, the early 80s and the 90s, Rolex was heavily plastered all over Wimbledon. And Rolex was definitely proper. It was, to me, at first I thought Rolex was English heritage, because it's got the racing green of Wimbledon and stuff. So this is all going on in me. I got an Apple Watch, a smartwatch. I got a smartwatch about 5-6 years ago.
Okay.
And it broke. And then I thought, well, my smartwatch is broke. I'm going to get a new one. I actually got it for Christmas, but I thought I'm going to buy a new one. Then I thought to myself, now listen, hang on. If I buy £400, if I spend £400 on a smartwatch, what's it going to be? How much is it going to be in 2 years' time, 3 years' time?
Right.
Am I going to be able to sell it if I want to? Am I going to be able to keep it and then in 10 years' time wear it again? Or is the software going to mean that it's outdated? It's not even going to turn on.
Right.
And also, I was getting older and I was thinking about kids, and I think if I could pass some things down to my childhood. My wife has jewelry. I don't have any jewelry, and I thought I'd love to pass on down, if and when I do get kids,
right.
I'd like to pass on down something for them, you know, and that's what started it. That's what started me getting into mechanical watches.
That's
also
awesome.
the thought of just metal parts moving at one with each other, to no batteries. I just thought, oh my, that's amazing. So I wanted to look into more in it, and I fell down a huge rabbit hole, as we all do, guys. And yeah, that was 4.5 years ago, and now got a YouTube channel.
That's awesome, man. And
Right
I'm sure that kind of leads us into our next question about what P. Ross is going to ask you with TGB, because I'm sure he had some kind of influence in that SKX, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So what was it like interviewing TGV, and how did it all come about?
Congratulations, by the way, because he doesn't collaborate with a lot of people. So
no. Well, I'm a fan of TGV purely for there's a number of facts. I liked his taste of watches. I like his taste in watches. Particularly, he's got a very small wrist, just like me. He's got a tiny wrist. So when I was looking at his wrist checks, it felt like it was my wrist check as well. So I could tell whether it was going to look good or not look good.
Right.
He loved Casio. He loved Seikos. And I was the same. I loved the same sort of stuff. He was an English guy in New York. And I love America. I absolutely love it. And I love the fact that he was a Brit in America. I love the sound of the NYPD going past his apartment all the time. I love all that. And yes, I mean, he talked about the Seiko SKX a lot. And it was one of the attributes of me getting the watch. I'm a fan of his, and I pretty much always had a little comment on his shows. I like what he says. I think his production's really good. It's definitely got better and better, his production, his editing and things. I liked him as a character and as a guy. And I had a YouTube channel out, but I never promoted my YouTube channel to him because I didn't feel no, that's just, don't plug for no reason, you know. I didn't want to do that. I would just like to talk to him as a man to man. And he actually just clicked on me after a comment that I said. I can't remember what the comment was that I said, but it was obviously decent enough for him to click on my icon, and he found that I had a YouTube channel. And then before you know it, he said I'd subscribed. And he said not many YouTubers actually, YouTube reviewers actually watch his shows, which I found very hard to believe that he said that. Maybe it's reviewers don't tend to comment on his shows, but anyway, yeah, he said he was subscribed. Then I did a live chat, a couple with Average Joe Watch Reviews and Matt at Beer and Watches.
Right.
And he left a little comment saying, I'd like to do that sometime.
No way.
And so, yeah. And so I said, okay. So I thought to myself, well, I'm not going to ask you straight away, because that seems like I'm sort of begging straight away.
But secretly, you really wanted him.
Yeah. Well, I always thought that these live shows I was going to build up to, you know, the likes of TGV. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I just said, would you like to be on a Mad Chat? And he said, I'd love to. And I thought, that's awesome. Let's put a date in the diary, and then Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. We're in, and yeah, it was a pleasure to talk to him.
Man, how did that feel though? How did it feel actually talking to the guy? Were you nervous? I mean,
well, to be honest, he came onto the stream very late, he came onto the stream with about a minute to go before we were to go live, and my excitement, it probably showed his excitement. I was excited and relieved that I'd been saying that TGV was going to come on the Mad Show, on the Mad Chat.
He never came.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'd have all these people in the comments going, we're waiting, what's going on? And if he never turned up, I'm truly grateful that he did turn up. And it was amazing just to see him talking in his war room, you know, just having a chat. And he's a top guy. It's brilliant.
That's awesome. So question, have you guys kept in touch after?
Yeah, we kept in touch with a little bit. I think he wants to do some sort of collaboration or something. I don't know what it is. It's, you know, it's got no benefit for him doing it with me, which just shows you that he obviously likes what I'm doing, and I truly appreciate that. And we'll see. I'm not risking anything. I'm not betting anything that he does. I'm truly grateful that he came onto the Mad Chat. And if I don't get anything else with TGV, then that's fine by me. But it was a pleasure.
Right. We would love to have him on the podcast. I know some other big podcasts have tried to book him, but I guess he hasn't really agreed to go on. But we will see, right, P. Ross? I mean, we're
you never know. You never know.
You never know. Oh man. Well, I again, so I'll reiterate what I said earlier, that I love your show, and I did a thing yesterday with Average Joe, and I think you were there. It's so crazy, right? So Average Joe Watch Reviews jumped on IG Live, and I happened to be on IG, Instagram, and I saw that he had a live video or live stream. So I click on it, and funny enough, he was talking about the Q Timex, right? That his fiance he thinks he was gonna get surprised by it. And it's funny because he's like, hey, what's up, Miguel? He shot me out. He's like, hey, do you still have yours? I was like, oh, actually I do. And he was asking me a few questions, and I was answering. I'm like, let me see if I could request being live with the guy. Like, I've never done that before. I wasn't even ready. I was just kind of sitting around. And he admitted me right into the chat. I was like, oh crap, all right. So we talked for like almost an hour, and it was awesome. It was just off the cuff. It wasn't planned, and it was a great conversation. You know what I mean? Cool. But in that video, I saw you obviously in there, and I mentioned something, right? That my son, he's 5 years old. He actually loves your channel. All the crazy stuff that you do in the editing. He just thinks you're hilarious, right? And I so do I. But my wife, and she doesn't say much about watch reviewers because she doesn't really care about YouTube, but she's seen me watching your videos, I guess, in passing, and she knows that I was gonna have you on, and she goes, I really like Russell. He's a cool guy. He seems nice. I was like, well, that's cool. And I so do I. But so your persona on YouTube, obviously you come across as crazy, over the top, doing all these things, but are you really like that all the time? Do you have an off button? Or
I like to think I'm pretty much similar. I just I just don't have the edits. I just don't do the quick edits. I'm still walking around the house doing this. I've got a 3-year-old daughter that keeps me young.
Nice.
I'm a tennis coach that is not working at the minute, Miguel, and I've got a lot of energy to burn. I love life. I've got, I'm really happy, and I just want to share my energy off to everyone else in the world that wants to see it. You know.
So nice. I guess it's safe to say that it's you, but amped up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say, man. I would say, and I've always wanted to do sketch shows and things like that, because I really like. I don't know, say it's performing. I've been a musician. I've sang in front of loads of people. I've done amateur dramatics, and I've done speeches and things. And I like an audience. And whenever I do shows, I always think that I'm looking at an audience, and I'm trying to be the best that I can. And I suppose you try and be you, but times two. And you just show the energy. And I know that when I teach kids or when I teach adults, if I show hyped up energy, then that oozes onto them, and they get energetic, and it just rubs off on people. And that's the way I think of life, really.
Right.
That's awesome. So were you doing editing before YouTube? Because your editing is top notch.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. No, I mean, I I edited a couple of music videos before that I've done, and syncing the audio with the video was a tough thing to do, but it got me introduced into it. So no, I purely, if you look at my older shows, you can see the improvements as it's gone along, because the first shows are absolute, I don't want to say a swear word on your podcast, but yeah, they're not
you
great.
Can if you want to.
I don't want to. They're pretty awful. But yeah, so you can see the energy, the energy comes down and up a little bit and flows. And nowadays it's quite high. It flows down when it needs to, and if I need to be serious, then I can do that, and I do that. But yeah, it's just learning as you go along. I think we're all the same, though, aren't we? With this editing.
Oh yeah.
We're just learning new things. What I try and do is like my songwriting that I do is that to myself, I feel I'm only as good as my last song. Okay, so whatever my last song was, that's the best, and now we've got to beat it. So I try and do that with my shows. Can I improve it in a way that is maybe noticeable to me, but not to you guys out there? But yeah, that's the way I try and do it. You know.
Do you go off the cuff, or do you do scripts, or?
I don't do any scripts. The only thing I do is when I talk about the watch, the spec check, and the little notes that I have, the little words that make me go off on a tangent on something else. You know, if I've got a little sketch to do, like there might be a joke that I want to put in there, then I might just write down a couple of words, and that'll jog my memory to do it. But no, I find that the best way to do the shows is just to do it off the cuff for me.
Wow.
Cool.
That's incredible.
Cool. So what does your family and friends say about it?
Hey Ross, well, listen, the thing about me, my friend, is that I'm quite creative. I'm very creative, okay, and I'm not single-minded. This is my problem. This has been my issue over the years, is that I think of some great things. I do so many. I do songwriting. I do drawing. I do script writing. I do all sorts of things, but I never stick to it. You know, I need someone behind me driving me through. And so when I first did it, they said, "Oh yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Yeah," and it's like thinking that he's not going to keep going with it. So. Right. That's fine. So they didn't really think too much about it. But now, you know, as I got quite a few more subscribers now, and I'm getting the likes of Bremont sending me actual watches for review. Awesome. It's like, okay, let's actually have a look at him. Actually, let's have a look. And they're very supportive. My mother-in-law is one of my number one fans now, which is fantastic.
That's awesome.
That takes the female up a couple more ladies, you know. I think they're really supportive, P. Ross, and I'm chuffed with that. That's really good.
Cool. That's so cool, man. Hey, P. Ross, does your family, aside from your wife and your daughter, do they know that you have a YouTube channel? Have you told all your family?
Yeah, my family know. They don't too much pay no attention though. but surprisingly, like he said, my mother-in-law watches my stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So
maybe it's a mother-in-law thing.
Right.
You guys want to hear something crazy?
What's up?
My sister, my mom, my dad, and pretty much all my family, nobody knows about this stuff.
Really?
Yeah. They don't. Really? I don't think they care, and since we don't really have that kind of relationship, like they don't really know. Even my in-laws, like I literally just told my father-in-law, because I got some coffee. We're sponsored by this local coffee company. He's a coffee lover, right? Oh, there you go, Roast. Yeah, they're here in California.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I do love it.
Shout out to Roast.
So I showed him that, and he's like, "Oh, where's that from?" And I kind of mentioned to him that I got it for free, right? And they were looking at me kind of weird, like my mother-in-law and him. They're like, "What, for free? How'd you do that?" I was like, "Oh, I have a YouTube channel." And they're like, "A what?" I'm like, "YouTube, you know, that thing." He's like, "Oh, yeah." They don't know about the internet. So I kind of briefly told them. They do know that I'm crazy about watches. That they do know. But I guess it's interesting, right? And it's kind of sad that you want to share this, like you guys, you're passionate with all your family, and you want them to be proud of you. But unfortunately, I don't have that, you know. So it kind of sucks.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I'm gonna go cry now. I'll be
oh
back.
man, don't listen. You come back. You tell them when when you got your 10,000, your 20,000 subscribers, then they'll start. Whoa, hello.
Right.
Start thinking it, and don't you worry about that.
Yeah, that's so
and
funny.
Strangely enough, I have more friends that actually watch my stuff than family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Weird.
That's crazy.
And then what's so crazy about my wife is if like, let's say I'm watching a podcast on YouTube and then she hear my voice, she'll say, "Oh God, I gotta listen to it on TV and I gotta hear your voice." You know what I'm saying? And she said, "I hear you all night long and I can't sleep." And I'm like, wow, what's the problem?
She can't get away from you.
Can't get away from you. So I know how to shut her down. Just turn on one of my videos and leave the room. So
that's so funny.
Well, the weird thing is, as I've got further and further with the YouTubes, and I've got been fortunate to have TGV and other guys coming up and things like that. My wife has suddenly got really interested in, what are the competition doing, and what's other reviewers like, and things like that. And I'm really, she's critiquing me as well, which I'm not too massive on, but I mean, yeah, it's nice that she's interested in watches. This is nice.
I think she's gonna have a really hard time comparing your stuff to anybody else. I don't think anybody's doing what you're doing, which is awesome.
Absolutely not.
That's the beauty of YouTube, right? It's that you could be as creative as you want to be, and do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man. So you just started during quarantine, right? The YouTube channel. Yeah. So what are your goals for 2021 now, as far as social media goes? And
yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because my first goal was to get the monetization. Okay, that was the first goal, because it's a set goal. It's 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. It wasn't because I knew at the end of that rainbow the monetization would be nothing, but it was a goal to reach for. I guess the next goal for me is to get to 2,000, and then it's just every 1,000 really. I'm not projecting too far ahead, and I'm not giving myself a hard target to reach or a low target to reach. I'm just saying, right, let's get to 2. Let's see what happens at 2, and then we get to 3,000. Hopefully, you never know, but yeah, I mean, I want to improve each time. I want to I want to engage more with more people, because the one thing that I've truly appreciated doing these things is the amount of amazing people in the watch family that want to chat about watches, which is fantastic. If you haven't got your family to talk to, we're here for you, Miguel. Do you know what I mean, Miguel?
I appreciate that.
And yeah, that's something that I've absolutely loved over the last 7-8 months doing that. So there's not a specific goal. It's just to hopefully get better and to get in front of more eyes. That's pretty much it.
So how many videos a week would you say you're putting out versus how many do you want to put out? Is there?
It's a good question. I've just finished a short. I don't know if you know about these YouTube shorts, but they're like little 50-odd second.
You know what? I've seen a few people doing them, but I didn't know that. Well, so what is it?
Well, basically, it's a video that is horizontal, so it's not landscapes. Horizontal, so it fits on your phone, and it can't be no more than 57 minutes long.
Seconds.
Seconds. Sorry, seconds.
57 minutes is a long time.
Yeah, that's a long time. That is a long time. That's a long liver. So yeah, and basically, and if you put the hashtag shorts at the end of the title, it gets put on YouTube, reads it, and it gets shown to a lot of people that watch YouTube videos on their phone. And it's it can get put onto what is known as the short shelf. which YouTube does. And if you look at Average Joe, he's done quite a few shorts, and there's one which is he's done, it was 35 seconds long, and it was about his Citizen Eco Drive, that he took the battery out and the thing still ran because of the mechanism inside. But that thing got, it's still rising. It's got about 7,000 views on it. Wow. You know, just out of the blue. And so if you get what that does, it doesn't do much for monetization or for getting you money, but what it does, it gets people to see you, and hopefully they can go onto your main channel and your main shows and hopefully subscribe. So I'm looking into that, but that was a long answer, Miguel. But sorry, Piros, sorry. But two. So I like to do a two a week.
That's
I like to do one. Yeah, one in the middle and one at the end of the week.
Very cool.
Yeah, the thing I was just I just saw it on Average Joe's. He did one with the loon shot, short.
Oh yeah, Christopher Ward.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know about that, P-Ross.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be anything. You know, it doesn't have to be anything edited. You know, massively special. But yeah, get it on there. Get it on there, and
I could do shorts all week.
Shorts.
I mean, P. Ross, all week. You know, you just go shirtless with a watch, it'll go viral.
Absolutely viral.
Run around. Hey, whatever. Just get the views. So that's it. So goals for 2021 as far as watches.
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I mean, I want your watch. You keep putting it in front of my eyes, and it's
which one? The Timex?
No, your SPB
143.
Oh, yes, I love that.
Man.
Watch. Yeah, I absolutely love that watch. That's a midterm goal of mine for this year. I probably would have had it already if we'd not been in lockdown. I've sold a couple of watches, and I've got money for it. I'm not working at the minute, so I'm just holding on to the money just in case I have to buy rations with it, you know.
Yeah, I get you.
Right. That is my midterm goal.
Great goal, by the way.
Yeah, man.
You won't be disappointed.
No, absolutely special. I love the 62 mass, and I love my favorite watch that I own, apart from the Rolex Explorer, which is to do with my granddad and sentimental, but it's the Black Bay 58. I love the vintage. Beauty. I love traditional vintage looking watches that have been, you know, made using modern technology and modern movements and things. I love that.
You know what I love about you, to be honest, dude, that you have a pretty heavy collection, like low-key heavy collection, and you don't flex anything, because I'm serious. I mean, Explorer, then you got the Tudor, you got Squale, you got Seiko, you got Casio, you got all kinds of eclectic things in your collection, and we all know that Explorer alone is worth a few $1,000s, not to mention the Tudor, and you're so humble about it, and you're just not flexing it at all, you know, and we love that about you. So
no doubt.
Thank you. I mean, I you know, when you feel these watches, you can feel a difference in them. Obviously, you can feel the quality, and you can just hold one and you hold another, and you can just feel that, you know, this is special. Just like in my channel, I don't want to not talk about anything, because I even though we can't afford some watches, like I did the Rolex Daytona, I did the AP, which, you know, I'm never gonna own it. I'm so grateful to be able to hold it and to put it on my wrist and to show guys. But, you know, we might not be able to own these things, but we sure are interested on what opinions are of it when someone does hold it, you know. And I truly respect that when I see reviews of watches like that, you know.
How did you even go about acquiring like the Explorer? Was that recent? Was that in the early collecting days?
It was 2019.
Okay.
2019, and it was money I'd been saving, and it was my Grail watch. To be honest, it was a Grail watch of mine. It's my end watch. It's the watch that I want to define me when I'm in my 70s. That's the watch that I want to be known for and wearing a lot when I'm sort of walking and hobbling along in my arthritic knees, you know. And
this guy.
my granddad passed away, and he's got a Rolex Explorer, 1967 reference Explorer on a Jubilee bracelet. I've got a video on my channel about it. But that was the watch that I thought was the pinnacle of watches for me. It was a black dial, 3-hander, Jubilee bracelet. It's why I've got to have at least one watch with a Jubilee bracelet because of my granddad. And he taught me a lot of life lessons, and I respect the guy a lot. So I got that Rolex a little bit soon after his passing, and because I wanted it to, whatever time I would have got it, it would have meant something to me from my granddad. But it was around that similar sort of time, and it's just very special to me. My granddad's George. His name was George, and I just call it the George. And when I look it down on the face, I could see in it, I can hear in his voice say, "How much is that?" He never really paid a lot of money. He paid £67 for a brand new Rolex in 1967.
Wow.
What
would be the equivalent of that in today's money?
Well, I think it was quite a lot. It was quite a bit. It's nothing compared to
what it is now.
Nothing compared to what it is now. But he was a guy that wore Casios on a fabric strap that he bought for £1, which is for $1 in a dollar shop, in a pound shop. He if it was broke, he would fix it until it was impossible to fix. So I was always very, very weirded out why he would have a Rolex, because my granddad was very frugal. He was a self-made man, but I thought a successful man. When I was growing up, a successful man, he gets a Rolex,
and
that's what it was. It's weird, isn't it? But, so that Explorer was that's why I got that one.
Whatever happened to your granddad's Explorer?
It's in a safe. It's in a safe at my mum and dad's house, and it doesn't really come out that often.
So who does it belong to? Does it belong to your?
It's my dad's. And hopefully he doesn't pawn it off.
I doubt it. I doubt it, man.
I can't see him doing that. He was talking about polishing the crystal.
No, don't do that.
I said, don't you do that.
Don't you dare.
It's unbelievable. If you do that, the price, if you wanted to resell it, goes down. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
So, Japanese or Swiss?
I would say Swiss. Mr. P. Ross. Yeah, at the minute I go Swiss. I personally haven't had enough high-end Japanese movements to make a decision on the Japanese. I'm going to have a grand. You're talking about watch goals, Miguel, as well, but I'd love a Grand Seiko very soon. I think I'm going to get one in on the channel very soon, and just to go into the research of how it was made and the spring drive and all that stuff. I might change my mind at the end of the year, P. Ross.
Okay, cool. That's what's up.
I've heard a lot of amazing things about Grand Seiko. Never had the opportunity to actually see one in the metal, but obviously with my SPB 143, that's not even a Grand Seiko, but I could tell the quality between that and like my SKX, and you could totally tell the difference between the levels. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. And
also with our Saab 033s we got.
You have the Sarb.
Yeah.
Well, P. Ross has the Sarb too.
I have.
Here we go.
But his wife took it, so his wife wears it.
Yeah, my wife wears it. She looking at me crazy now, but she wears it.
Maybe she's looking at you crazy because you're wearing that hat.
Oh no,
that's got nothing to do.
That could be it. But yeah, she wears. She took it from me, so.
Man, seriously, let's talk about the Sarb. I mean, now it's crazy. Like, I would not recommend anybody go and buy one, not for the prices they're going for, but for what the prices they were selling for. Oh my God! I mean, incredible value.
Right.
Unbelievable, isn't it? Unbelievable.
Such a versatile watch. I mean, you could throw it on any strap, and it just goes with everything. So comfortable. Right. It's beautiful. I mean, I could stare at that thing for days, and it's just
I mean, when I had it for somebody kindly sent it in for me to review, and I wasn't taken in straight away by the Saab 033 because I'm not a massive fan of the Dauphine hands. Dauphine handset.
All right.
I know. I thought it was a little bit too dressy for me, for my personal taste. But when I sent it back, I was pining after it. I was pining for it. And looking at that dial from the macros that I did, and the fact that you've got the chapter round the dial, and they're loomed. This isn't a dress watch. You've got loom on the dial. You've got loom on the hands as well. And it's a good chunky bit of loom on that hands as well. I changed my mind. And I was just on eBay looking for it, and I got a very good deal. I don't know if I would have paid the silly amounts for it, obviously. But I had the chance to snap one up.
They're going upwards of like $600 now, right?
I know.
It's nuts, man.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And for whatever reason, the 3.3 is more expensive than the 3.5. So the black dial is actually more expensive than the white dial.
Right. Yeah, I think the white dial is like $400, $450.
Yeah, I think you can still buy them on Amazon. Definitely in the UK. You can buy the white dial still.
It's the white dial doesn't. So Omar, one of our buddies, actually saw his white dial one, and it's not really white. It's like a cream dial.
Right.
For my personal taste, the black one is just stunning, man.
Yeah,
and I've said this.
versatile.
I've said this story before. It's so funny. So I owned the 3.3. And I sold it off to buy my vintage Omega, and immediately, I mean, the minute I sold it, I regretted it, and I started hunting for another one. It's just that cool. It's that cool of a watch, and it just wears so good, right? I mean, it just fits so good.
Yeah.
Oh man! But so I do have a question. We ask this to every single one of our guests and people we know. Homage watches, right? So I'm not talking homage from a perspective of borrowing aesthetics from another watch. Like that's obviously across the board. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking more a carbon copy, 1-to-1 copy of another watch, just slapping a different logo, call it a replica, if you will. But a lot of people love it, right? A lot of people build channels around this. We had
very popular channels as well.
Absolutely. And we had, I mean, Jody, of course, we've collaborated with him, but it was interesting to get his take on the homage watch thing. I mean, he doesn't mind it, but at the same time, he prefers an original watch. And then we had Oscar from I Bought a Watch, and he's basically kind of exclusively talking about homage watches. But if you go to his, I think, Instagram page, I think he did buy a Christopher Ward, or he's starting to
super compressor, the lucky son of a what's it?
Yeah, it's a beautiful watch. But anyway, it's one of those things that's like it makes me wonder. It's so divisive, right? It's such a divisive topic because people get so offended when you're like, I don't like homage watches. They think you're a snob or whatever. But I want to see your take on it. Like, what's your take on homage watches?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I mean, I don't like a clomage, which is a clone of another watch with a different badge on top. I don't like that. What frustrates me is how good they are. Some of them are really good.
And how affordable they are.
Yeah, so I had the Willard from Steel Dive, a Steel Dive Willard, and the specifications of the watch were better than the Willard, than the actual Willard reissue. Apart from the movement inside, but the movement inside of the Willard of the Steel Dive was still a Seiko NH35. It was still a Seiko movement. But it had sapphire glass, which obviously we all know about Seikos that aren't over a certain threshold. They're not sapphire glass and all this sort of stuff. And the QCs, like Jody from Just One More Watch, he's had two Willards in with QC issues, missing stuff, and they don't help themselves, the likes of Seiko and things. I really liked your chat you did last night with the Average Joe, because you're talking about homages and everyone talks about them. And I just think if the companies like Seiko, brought the level up a little bit and just took the price down a little bit more, they would, the homage stuff would be a little bit more worried about it. The fact is, you've got an NH35 sapphire glass ceramic bezel,
Mm-hmm.
stainless steel, pretty well made, from what I can see, for like 80 quid, for 80 pounds, for 60 pounds, for 70 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
you know, under $100 for these sorts of watches. Now, I, for one, know that not everyone can afford the £1,000 for a Willard Seiko reissue. And for me, if you can't afford that, then you know, you go for these homage watches.
Right.
And I completely respect that, and I love having them on the show because it makes me sometimes surprised as to, gee, yeah, this is actually a blooming good watch. You know, if it wasn't a complete copy, I'd highly recommend it, and I can't not recommend it because of the specifications and the watch, but it just leaves me quite frustrated because I don't know how the hell these are made. How are they made? Who makes them? Who sells them? What are the profit margins for the likes of these homage watches?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I question that, but I also then question, okay, with the likes of Seiko, what's the profit margins for Seiko if a homage is their profit margins is this? Do you know what I mean? It makes you question everything,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
It's all child labor. I mean, we all know that.
Yeah.
You know, so I was just thinking about something. So I recently reviewed the Islander watch, the ISL 40. And obviously in looking at that watch, it takes a lot of inspiration from the Hamilton khaki, right? A lot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I had that here in the house. I was, you know, taking pictures, reviewing it, whatever. And my brother-in-law, he's in his 20s. He saw it. He's not into watches, right? He doesn't really care. But he absolutely loved that watch. And he could care less if it was an homage of something, or because he doesn't know. He doesn't care. He just thought it was pretty. Like, you know, he's like, how much is it? I'm like, 189 or something, and crazy specs. Again, he doesn't know anything about specs, but he trusts me. And I was like, sapphire front, sapphire back, NH36. I mean, you get this, and this for less than $200. It's actually a really good deal.
Yeah.
And he ended up picking it up, right? He bought one, and he wears it proudly, and it makes me kind of puts things into perspective for me, because I'm such a snob now that I think like, oh, that looks like a khaki, right? Like a Hamilton. But he doesn't care. He doesn't know. He just knows the watch is good and he likes it. And I think that's what homage watches do for the community, or for even non-watch people, right? They just think something looks pretty. That's all they care about.
I mean, I completely agree. I take it like music as well. Like, I'm a huge Beatles fan. You know, my father loved Beatles and I love Beatles, and that's what inspired me to be in a band and things like that. But when I hear like a song has been covered by the Beatles, and there's kids that know the lyrics but think that this band or this group come up with that song,
right?
Oh, that hurts me, P. Ross. That hurts me.
Yeah, I know.
That hurts me. This is not their song. You know, this is not their song. Oh man.
I know the feeling.
Cannot handle that, and we're like that with the homage watches, right? You know, it's similar. It's a similar thing. If they know the backstory and they know that this isn't a the true Hamilton of that, then I feel better about it. That's why I like to inform on the shows. But yes, it's a funny one because I as I said, I like the specifications and the build quality is good. But the materials, I mean, are they dodgy? I mean, where do they get the materials from? It's there's a lot of questions. But on paper and when you handle one, it's impressive.
Right.
Well, I was just gonna say that's the reason actually why I picked up the Pagani design to begin with, because there was so much hype and so many people talking about it, and the specifications on paper were incredible. I'm like, wait, so you mean to tell me for $80 I get all that? This is not. There's something to it. So I picked it up. I wasn't fully impressed with the finishing and some of the things, but I'm like, at the end of the day, this is an $80 watch. Like, this is crazy. So I get the appeal, but also from a mass market appeal, let's talk about something different. Cars, right? There's so many cars that are homages of other cars, like straight up replicas. Like, they just changed the badge of them. You know what I mean? And people are okay with that because they're like, well, I can't afford the expensive things, so I'll just buy this one and it's fine. Like nobody makes fun of them, you know. Over here in the States, I don't know if over there where you live they have them, but Chrysler 300, right? Remember, Pete, when they first came out? I mean,
look exactly like a Phantom.
Exactly, right, for a fraction of the cost, and people were actually modifying them to look like a Phantom, and it's okay. I mean, that's what they like to do. That's what they like to drive. But anyway.
So as far as the homage watches go, what do y'all think, or what particular aesthetic are y'all tired of seeing when it comes?
Submariner.
Submariner.
Of course.
Submariner. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. It's a home run, isn't it? It's an easy thing to make money on.
Of course. Of course.
It is the best, probably the best, most iconic watch in the world, and it's and James Bond wore it, and it's just easy to make money on. It's easy to make money on, and this is why it's done. But I think the watch community are definitely starting to get a bit tired of seeing, Rolex Submariner stuff. But the reviewers, us reviewers, we're not the ones buying these a lot of the time, and they'll be going for as long as they can. I just don't know why watch companies don't patent their designs. I just don't understand why that is. I mean, the Pagani has made a living off of making a watch exactly the same as Rolex
and Omega and
Omega, from that, and then it's incredible. It's incredible stuff. At least when you do a cover of a song, they get royalties. I'm not saying Rolex need any more money than what they've got, but you know what I mean. There's some sort of if you do a cover of a song, they get the royalties.
Right? Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, man. Homage watches are just they're a money grab in a sense for both companies and also for YouTubers. They know it's going to be popular once they put them out or put out a video of something like that. It's definitely going to get a lot of views. So
I mean, I bought one one for the show. I bought a blue I bought a blue Submariner, but I bought it for my dad for Christmas. And my dad, he's not into watches. He's not really into watches. He likes the shows that I've done, and he says his thing, but I gave him pretty much things that he never would get from a watch in the high street for the money that you pay. And that's the thing as well. You would never buy a watch. You could never afford a watch in the high street that had a ceramic bezel, sapphire glass, automatic movements. There may be a couple of Tissot's, but my dad he'd never pay £100 for a watch or over that, $100 for a watch. He never would do that. So I gave him a little package with a see-through exhibition case. I tell you what it is. It's a great watch to get into the hobby. Homage watches are great watches to get into the hobby because you can see that, especially with an exhibition case back. But you can beat that thing. You can play with the thing. You can really wear that thing out, and you can get to know a mechanical watch, and then you can look at the history. Then you can move on to something original like a Seiko and things like that. So they have their place in a positive way for me there. You know?
Yeah, no, I agree.
For sure.
I agree.
Absolutely. So you're a tennis instructor. What's your stance on athletes wearing watches while playing the sport?
Like that tennis player, right? Wearing that Richard Mille.
Richard Mille, I don't know. I wear a lot of watches when I work. When I wear a lot of sports watches. I'm a diver watch fan, so I will wear the beaters, the automatics, but I tend to wear digital watches because I know that they are not, they're not going to get ruined if I jar something or I fall. If I was playing a proper game of tennis, I would not wear an automatic watch or a mechanical watch. I wouldn't do that. I would probably wear a G-Shock if I could handle the size of it. I tend to wear my little digital watches, my little A168, my little retro sort of 80s digital watches. I mean, I tell you what, those watches get far more praise from others than
Really?
more expensive. Yeah. If I've got a the gold A159
right.
Casio or the silver A168, with the cool little blue touches around the dial, it gets far more praise than the
That's
analog.
interesting.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
From
sure.
my kids.
So just curious, for your whole tennis career, obviously you're an instructor, but did you ever make it professional, or was that your goal, or how did you even get started into that?
I love sport, and I love the social element of sport. I love sport and social, because I like talking to people. I love people talking. I got a degree in graphic design when I was in my late teens, and it took me a year of working part-time and looking for a job in graphic design after I got my degree. And then I realized it wasn't the job for me. I've got too much energy to be sitting down making someone's rubbish business card. So I went to the local tennis club, and I said, I want to be a tennis coach. Obviously, I was quite good at tennis at the time, because that would be madness if you didn't play tennis.
Right.
They said, yeah, you come and be a tennis coach. We'll pay for your courses to do your instructor courses, as long as you stay with us for 6 months and help and work with us. So I did that, and after 6 months and 1 day, I left them, and yeah, the rest is history after that. So that's how I got into it, and I love tennis coaching because at the time I was in a band, and it was very flexible. There wasn't certain days you were working. You never worked a 9 to 5. You could work in the evenings. You could work in the mornings. It was a great job for doing other stuff,
Got it. Oh,
Cool.
so what about the band? I know you're huge. Obviously, you guys got a lot of music out there. Is that something you wanted to do professionally?
It was at the time. It was at the time when I was in my, early mid, late 20s. We got told at one time when I was in the band to give up your day job, but nothing really ever came from it after we released an album. I love the camaraderie and the banter and the connection you have with 3 others or 4 other people in a band. And I love how you go through a journey with them, and I love that. Whether it would have been the right move for me, I was getting to mid to late 20s, and we hadn't properly made it, and I was looking at marriage and buying a house and things like that. So I now write for others, other youngsters with hopes and dreams of their own, which I really like. And occasionally I come up with my own songs, just release them because I enjoy it. Unfortunately, Miguel and P. Ross, it's the thing that I think I'm best at, and it's the thing I get the least amount of money for.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a shame, but I love it. I love it. I don't know where I would be if I didn't have a guitar, or I didn't know how to play a guitar and sing. I would probably be not here. You know what I mean? It's
right.
So yeah.
Have you ever collaborated with anybody famous or anybody that we know? Or
no, not really. I played on the bill with I don't know if you would know any of them. They're quite big in England, like The Feeling. I played. If you heard their songs, you would know.
Right.
But Cast, their English band, and the Seahorses.
Okay.
The Stone Roses. Have you ever heard of the Stone Roses?
Mm-mm.
They were huge. Fool's Gold. If you listen to Fool's Gold, that you'll like the beat of that, P. Ross. You will like the beat of that song. But yeah, so the guitarist from Stone Roses, a massive band back in the late 80s and 90s. He was in a band called the Seahorses, and I supported the lead singer of that. I've done loads of different things. I've played loads of festivals, and I really enjoyed it. I don't desire to do that again. I just like making music. I like creating, so it gives me an avenue.
Right.
That's
That's
very
what's up.
cool. That's very cool. All right. Well, hey,
Sure.
we're at the part of the show where we talk about other things. So it's your platform, your time to talk about whatever you want. And obviously you're a huge 80s junkie. So am I. I mean, obviously
Oh
I'm an
yeah.
80s. I know Pete Ross is a little older than us, but it's okay. I'm sure he loves the 80s as well.
I'm still an '80s guy, man. Still an
Yeah.
'80s.
So,
Yeah.
but anyway, you could talk about whatever you want. So take it away, man.
No, I mean, I cartoons. Cartoons are a big thing. I still love cartoons. I like showing my daughter cartoons that I watched in the 80s.
Okay.
You know, some she dismisses straight away. Others she loves, like Thundercats. She absolutely loves
Classic.
Thundercats.
Classic, yeah.
She loves it.
Classic.
She loves He-Man.
Classic.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Classic.
she didn't like She-Ra. She didn't like
She
She-Ra.
didn't like
but she
She-Ra.
liked, no.
Classic.
But she
Wow.
liked He-Man.
Who does she like? Skeletor. I'm just kidding.
Well, I was surprised that she wasn't scared by him, because when I was a kid, I was scared of
He's kind of creepy.
Skeletor. Yeah. Definitely for me. I had Grayskull, Castle Grayskull. I had all the figures.
Yeah.
I had them all, man.
Right.
I loved Mask. Did you ever watch Mask over there where you are? Mask. Da, 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 da. This was the flagship.
Yeah. Yes. I know what you're
was-
talking about. Yes.
Ja, 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 ja.
Yeah. Yes.
That's cool.
Yes.
So
Yes,
it's
sir.
guys that had helmets and they could do certain things.
Right.
And
Right.
Mask was a massive thing in my childhood. I loved Mask. WWF.
Of
I
course.
loved the WWF of the
Yeah.
80s.
Right.
Right. Not so much nowadays, or even in the 90s.
Right.
I'm a huge Hulk Hogan fan. I love the characters. I love the characters, P. Ross.
About
Right.
You know, like
Macho Man?
Yeah, I love Macho Man.
Oh,
Ultimate
yeah.
Warrior.
Well, my favorite wrestler is Ric Flair. So.
Yeah. If anyone can sell a bonk to the face, it's Ric Flair.
Right.
He was amazing at selling.
Yes, he was.
Absolutely loved him.
I see the Transformers in the background. Optimus Prime. And,
got Optimus Prime, original OG.
Yeah.
P. Ross,
Ooh.
OG.
yeah, that's hot.
The Turtles.
I got that's Turtles from the 90s movie that I absolutely love, the 90s movie.
Yeah.
I've got Honky Tonk Man.
Yeah.
The Honky Tonk Man.
Right.
A big Back to the Future fans.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That is cool, isn't it? That's a
Yes, sir.
crazy.
you sure do know how to hydrate a pizza.
Right.
Yeah, so
Right.
I love Back to the Future. That's my favorite film. Back to the Future 2 is my favorite all-time film. It's just got everything in it. My life has been, without me knowing it, and maybe you guys as well, but time has been a great or a massive thing in my life, you know, watches, you know, and films about time. Ghostbusters, I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan.
Classic.
Yeah, I'm a Bill Murray fan. I love Bill Murray. I'm a b-ball fan. I'm a basketball fan. I love basketball. I went to Miami in 2010, and I got quite heavily into the Miami Heat at the time. And then I was suddenly a LeBron fan after that. I was a huge LeBron fan.
Wow.
Well, we all make mistakes. I mean.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. But I went to see him play at the Madison Square Gardens against the Knicks. When
New
he
York.
was with the Cavs.
Okay.
Where he was with the Cavaliers, and
Right.
I got. It was like he was playing on a different level. It was quite strange to watch because he was breezing through players like no one else was doing.
Yeah.
You know, DeMarcus Cousins, and you know, you had some good players there, but I mean, very special human. You know,
Right.
That's obviously. I mean, I'm in the 90s. I'm a massive Space Jam fan. And we all know who the real GOAT is.
Of course.
We all know who the real GOAT
MJ.
is.
Yeah, for sure.
We all know. But unfortunately, I was never around to see him, MJ, play live. I've seen a lot of live games on YouTube and that, watching him, and he's
Crazy.
on a different level.
Yeah.
His jump fades. It's very special.
Insane.
Yeah.
His
I love
work
basketball.
ethic too. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw that documentary with Michael Jordan, right? What was it called? I forget what it was called.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But
I know what you're talking
his
about.
work ethic is just insane. I mean, that he was good because of natural talent, but the work that he put in is just crazy.
Oh yeah,
And everybody was
you
scared
see
of the
that?
guy, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. He's the kind of guy that a competitive guy, even in a game of cards or tiddlywinks or
golf
throwing balls
or whatever.
Or golf. He was so
Right.
competitive. They never switch off, and that's the one price you pay from being an elite athlete is that you can never switch off. Like I bet even when he's playing Cluedo, he's still 100% all in, and he'll get really peed off if he doesn't win.
Oh yeah,
for sure. And by the way, he has some insane watches too. So
right.
He's got a pretty heavy collection. So P. Ross, what other things? Talk to us.
Well,
Mandalorian, or what are you going to talk about?
Mandalorian. The season of Mandalorian is over.
Okay, thank God.
But you know what I'm saying. But
I'm a huge fan, though, P. Ross. I'm a huge fan.
That's what's up.
No, Russell, don't say that.
That's what's up. Man. You know what I finally got my.
What is he unboxing? Let's see.
Speaking of Michael Jordan.
Nice.
Speaking of Michael Jordan.
Look at that.
Finally got him in the reverse breads.
Oh,
the Lowe's.
Beautiful.
Yeah, man.
They are beautiful.
Omar's probably drooling right now over the screen. Omar's a friend of ours. He's a huge sneaker guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to send him pics.
I love P. Ross on the documentary. His last match he played, and he wore his first Nike shoe.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember.
Right.
And he was in blisters at the end, wasn't he?
Right.
He couldn't hardly walk. It just shows you from when he got his first endorsement to the end to the last endorsement, how far trainers had come, sneakers had come from that time,
Yeah. Other than that, I've started watching the 3rd season of Cobra Kai finally.
Oh, okay. What you think?
I haven't finished it yet, but it's pretty good so far. It's pretty good.
Did you watch that, Russell?
I watched the first 2 or 3 or 4 episodes when it was on YouTube to start with. It started on YouTube.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And I did get into it, but I tend to only watch something if the wife's into it as well. And she's very close to liking it because she loves Karate Kid. I mean, who didn't like who doesn't like Karate Kid that was born around in the 80s, Karate Kid with the crane.
The crane. The crane. Yeah, man.
Absolutely amazing.
Crazy. Well, other things for me, I mean, I don't think I've watched a lot of TV. I've just been really focused on my videos and doing different collaborations. It takes so much time to do all this. I mean, you guys know this, right? So especially with the podcast and Instagram and a Spanish channel, and I hadn't uploaded anything to my Spanish channel in like about close to 3 weeks. So yesterday I focused on uploading a video there, and we're 100 subscribers away from 1,000 on that channel, which is cool. But man, some of the people over there are kind of rude. Like my people, my Latin American people, man, holy smokes. Sometimes I'm doing my reviews or whatever, and I'll throw a few English words in there just because it's easier for me, or I just can't find a definition because I don't speak Spanish every day, right? And oh my goodness, they'll crucify me, right? Like, oh yeah. Oh, if I want to watch something in English, I'll just go watch an English thing. If you're gonna speak Spanish, you better do the whole thing in Spanish.
Wow.
Or got this wrong, or you pronounce this wrong, and it's like, no offense, I'm not a professional or anything, but if you go to the Spanish reviewers, like watch channels, all they do is kind of like hands-on, kind of not that great production. There's no great B-rolls. There's no stuff that I like to do. So I like to think I'm one of the few in Spanish that does the things that I do, and yet my channel is not getting a lot of traction. But maybe it's a different crowd, maybe the Spanish speaking crowd resonate more, or they connect more with somebody in front of the camera and just showing a watch like this. I don't know, and I'm not trying to bash anybody because I'm actually friends with Fernando. We've been trying to have him on the show. He has 2 channels. Collecting Vintage Watches is his English one. He has about close to 10,000 subscribers, but his Spanish one, the guy's from Mexico, is a little older guy. Todo Reloj means like everything watches. He has almost 50,000 subscribers on there. Wow. And all he does is just like that. Like I told you, he just either talks in front of the camera, or he'll switch the camera and just show the watch, but no crazy B-roll, no nothing. But he's just talks all the time about just watches, and people really like that. But anyway,
that's cool.
it's interesting. YouTube is one of those things that you just can't figure out. There's no formula to it, right? Somebody could tell you, oh, do this. It just
no. It is crazy.
Right.
It is crazy. But listen, I continue what you're doing, man, because you're on a great path to it. So I just continue it, and you'll shine through.
Yeah, no, for sure. Hey, it's a passion. It's a passion project. It is for all of us. So let's continue doing it. But Russell, where can people find you?
I try to stay hidden, Miguel, to be honest.
Okay, perfect.
No, I'm joking. Yeah, if you go on YouTube and type the Mad Watch Collector, Instagram MWC 2020. Yeah, find me on there.
Very cool. P. Ross?
Ross Wristwatch Love everywhere. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook.
All right.
He's there. He is everywhere.
He is everywhere. Yeah. So SoCal Watch Reviews on YouTube, Instagram, of course, and the Facebook. I know we haven't done much, but P. Ross does manage that portion of our podcast.
It's blowing up a little bit. We getting a little bit of traction on Facebook. So go over there and check out the SoCal Watch Review podcast on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Get into it, y'all. Come on now.
Nice. And then the Spanish channel is called Relojeando. I throw it up on my Instagram every once in a while. So if anybody...
Say that again, Miguel. Say that again.
Relojeando.
Relojeando.
Yeah. Relojeando means like watch something. Yeah.
So it's fantastic, isn't it? Oh, I wish I could speak Spanish. Relojando.
It's an interesting language, man. It's definitely an interesting language. But anyway, hey, Russ, thank you so much for coming on. P. Ross, thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we can collaborate again. I know you got to run. You got to do a live thing with Average Joe, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Right. So go. I mean, people listening to this, they're probably going to listen tomorrow or something. But yeah, we'll go support you today. We'll go support you later on.
Absolutely.
Average Joe's a great guy. We've had him on the show. So anyway,
shout out to Average Joe.
Thank you so much. You gentlemen stay safe.
Can I say one thing?
Absolutely. Go for it.
What is the quote? The quote. What is the quote? I done forgot the quote that quick.
Wow.
We don't lose. We either win or learn.
Great quote.
Mandela.
That is great.
Great quote. That's a great way to end the show.
I love it.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. And everybody listening, stay humble.